Husband entertains calls from my best friend daily, neglecting our marriage, and I'm left to confront them both alone. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both our lives as we both came from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both her parents and siblings as she is studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband. Said that he was clingy and tried to insert himself into our friendship. WTF? She was civil to him because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar type 2, autism and PTSD, and it causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all. Over the last few years, we have been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time, and my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often, too. However, last year my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January. I was working and fell ill because at the time, I was working a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. My life changed and I had become more busy to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost a month and a half after discovering we were going to become parents. That's when our dynamic changed. Recently I applied to school and am currently in college trying to get a law degree so I can become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college, too. I've been super busy. One day my husband gets a text, and it's from my best friend. She asks if they can talk, as she was upset. He took the phone call with me protesting and a few minutes later said, "Sandra, fake name, we need to go get Carla, fake name. Her father is picking a fight with her." I get upset as we were watching a movie together and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for a night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed. I was hesitant. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave the go-ahead. We settle in for the night. Carla's dad apologized and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did not only inappropriate, but was disrespectful to my boundaries. Ever since, when she has an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my mill overheard a convo with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, no, not really, but every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help. That she is going through a hard time. Blah blah blah. It is important to note that my mill was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We are also extremely close, and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion. And my husband, who I will refer to as James, was using the same excuses his father did. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage. I asked him, how would he feel if I had asked him if another man could sleep in the bed with us? He kind of deflated and tried to say, it's different. Blah blah blah. His stepfather, Mark, fake name, spoke up and said, it is the same. You're uncomfortable with it. So is she. Quit with the excuses. James respects Mark quite a lot actually. Mark raised him since he was 8 and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settles, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said that he would do better. I kissed him and that was that. However, I wouldn't be right here if that was the end of the issues. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day. She says it's because she is bored and has no one else to talk to. I snap. I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation, how when she calls, he answers, how it is making me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response? She's just lonely. You're letting it get to you. That night I slept in the living room. I'm starting to suspect that she is trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time he calls, they talk, she complains about her life, etc. almost like she is his girlfriend or something. I am starting to find this relationship troubling. It's getting to the point that it is affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him, with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with a resolution in a couple days. I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. Edit number 2, my husband and I had a sit-down talk. His mother and stepfather weren't available. He promised me that he would explain everything in detail. I called Carla and she said that we could talk Friday when she wasn't busy with school. She had something she needed to air out. I will have an update on Friday, hopefully. Edit number 3, I woke up to a text from Carla this morning. She actually wants to talk to me tonight, alone, as her schedule has changed. We are going to have a heart-to-heart. Hopefully I will have some news. Edit number 4, I need some time. I will post an update later on. Update 1, baby and I are currently staying with my friend, Tanya. To start, James and I are getting a divorce. Carla is no longer a friend to me or our mutuals. The betrayal is too deep for her to be friends with our group. As most of you assumed, James and Carla are indeed having an affair. It started about 3 months ago and just turned physical 1 month ago. They were planning on just up and leaving after James served me divorce papers. They used the ruse that he was helping her through emotional issues to hide the fact. I was crushed. She wanted to clear the air before it got worse. That was when she dropped a huge bombshell. James was going to try and get me to terminate my rights to my child in order for Carla to adopt her. The reason? My borderline diagnosis a few years ago made me unfit to be a mother, and he was sure that the courts would agree. She then handed me 2 separate stacks of paperwork and left. I am contacting a lawyer as I am writing this. I was seriously hurt. You guys were right. Carla was a snake and only told me this so she wouldn't feel guilty. However, I am not letting my soon-to-be ex-husband bully me into termination of my rights. I called him afterwards and got very heated about what was going on. James just sat there in silence. I was crying afterwards. I pleaded with him to tell me what I did wrong. For a little bit of backstory, I had a near-fatal complication with my delivery of our daughter where I bled my entire labor. I had to have 2 blood transfusions and haven't fully recovered from it. I was not cleared for any extraneous activity for 3 months, including sexual activity. James was getting unsatisfied with all my doctor's appointments and not getting the sex that he wanted. I was hurting and ended up needing another procedure to remove some placenta that didn't naturally come out. I had to have my tubes tied because if I have another child, it will kill me next time. James wanted at least 2 more kids and this put an end to his plans. I married a monster. We were together since we were 15 and this is how he repays me? I thought I knew him. He was acting so caring and nice to me. I am absolutely heartbroken. I'm not even sure if I'm going to update this anymore, but if I do, it'll be after the divorce settles. Thanks for all your concern. I'm going to step back and take some time to adjust. There is no chance for a healthy co-parenting situation. I'm fighting for primary custody with supervised visits. Carla will not have any access to baby, as I will ask the judge to make a clause preventing her from interacting with my daughter. Thanks for all the advice. Edit, I forgot to add that I contacted his mother and Mark this morning. They are furious that James is doing this to me. They are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer because I'm a stay-at-home mom and college student. They have kicked James out and he is now staying at our old house with Carla. He did give me the courtesy to get my stuff and didn't put up a fuss about me taking what I wanted. He told me that he will keep in contact for divorce proceedings. Update 2. I spoke to a lawyer who is helping me at a reduced rate. My in-laws are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer against their wayward son. With all the info that I have, including some threatening texts from Carla and James, I have decided to file for a protection order. They were even stupid enough to send me a text that pretty much confirmed the blackmail. I intend to use this to my advantage in the upcoming divorce proceedings as evidence of emotional abuse. John has continued to maintain that I need to terminate my rights to our daughter so that he can run away with Carla, but I shut that shit down. My little girl is the light of my life and my only chance to be a mom, which is something I have always wanted to do. I finally got a clean bill of health from my doctor after months of dealing with postnatal complications. Needless to say, no more babies for me. I could die if I get pregnant again. I go to court Friday for our divorce proceedings. We have a mediator that my lawyer is speaking to directly for me so I don't have to deal with James's bully tactics. My lawyer is a no-nonsense kind of man and I like that about him. My in-laws have decided to cut ties with James after this. He openly disrespected them for giving me a place to stay after I was kicked from the house and the threats. The emotional anguish he has been putting me through has been too much. They've always saw me as their own daughter and has treated me as such. They are just as angry at James for his involvement in all this as I am. That's why they decided to foot the cost of a lawyer since I was a stay-at-home mom. My therapist has upped my therapy sessions to 3 times a week. I was also formally diagnosed with DID recently, which only came out when I blacked out in a therapy session. My therapist and psychiatrist have been communicating and have suspected for a while that I have it, but got confirmed after my recent development in therapy. I haven't told James this, and never intend to. My mill does know and has been my rock through all of this. As for the commenters on RA that say that I moved too quickly out of the house for it to seem real, I have one thing to say: I have very little and had to go back and grab the baby stuff. My STBX and Carla have went on a weekend getaway to my dream location, which I knew they did to hurt me even more. The pics were sent to me by my current friend who gave me a place for a few days before my in-laws gave me a place in their home. Baby girl is adjusting to life without her daddy around all the time. She is super fussy most of the time and I am sure she misses having him around. It breaks my heart to pieces. That's all that I have for you right now. Update 3. I have some great news. Baby girl is safe with me. My lawyer pulled through for me and my ex wants this divorce to be over with as soon as possible. First of all, I got full custody of my daughter with supervised visitation from ex. His own words came back to haunt him. I had proof of all his threats and the blackmail of him trying to get me to sign away my rights, and the judge wasn't happy. He tore into James and Carla about their behavior and how they tried to blackmail me and how they were lucky that I didn't press charges for extortion. Because of their bad behavior, He told them that he couldn't in conscience do shared custody because of the evidence of their behavior towards me. He was also worried that they would try to run off with her. Next up, because of all the behavior and aggression towards me that was unwarranted, my protection order was granted. My mill, who stayed beside me in court, is the one who volunteered to facilitate the supervised visits until my divorce becomes final. If Carla and James try to contact me again, unless it is strictly about our daughter, then they both will go to jail. James has to pay me child support. Of course he tried to protest it, but it wasn't happening. Lastly, after court James said something that kind of broke my heart about our daughter. If he can't have primary custody, then he is going to petition to terminate his rights. He doesn't want to be tied to me anymore and is willing to let my daughter suffer for it. So my daughter just pretty much lost her father because he would rather break away from me and pretend that I don't exist. I have some additional information from Carla that she said to me afterwards. Apparently she is infertile due to an illness she suffered from as a teenager. She wanted a baby so bad and to get me out of the picture so that they could play happy family with my daughter. I was stunned. She then asked me if I was happy for tearing their family apart. I had to look at her for a second. She tore my family apart. I wanted to slap her so bad. Because of her, my daughter is probably going to lose her father. I'm sad. That's all that I have for you. My next update will probably when the divorce finally happens. Thanks for reading this. Update 4. This update is heavy. Court was on Friday and I was waiting for the dust to settle before I posted 2 days ago. My STB ex-husband has been hospitalized. Carla called me this morning, crying despite the order. James tried to commit suicide this morning, and she found him just in time. He tried to out on his prescriptions and now he is in the hospital. The doctors don't know how long he will be there, but I will keep my hopes up for a speedy recovery. Despite the literal hell he has put me through, he is still the father of my daughter. I'm not pressing charges this time against Carla because it was a dire emergency. James is stable and they are transferring him to another facility for the foreseeable future. I feel almost sorry for her. I don't know when I will be able to update again. I have a lot to deal with and emergency care to plan for. Please keep me in your thoughts as I navigate this difficult situation. Thank you. Update 5. I didn't think I'd be back with an update, but it has been 2 weeks since STBXH was hospitalized for a suicide attempt. Since we have put divorce proceedings on hold for a while until he gets out of the hospital, I've been taking the steps to spend time with my daughter and my in-laws, who have been my rocks in this situation. Life has stabilized for me for a bit. I'm still acclimating to my DID diagnosis. I've been out of it for a few days now, due to some heavy-duty painkillers. But I know some of you are here to see how this saga ends. On to the biggest part of the update. Carla has been arrested and is being charged with breaking a protective order, aggravated assault, and attempted kidnapping plus a whole slew of other charges. Here is what happened. I was out and about in town yesterday, trying to get a few errands done. I was starting to get hungry and decided to get some food at my favorite spot. It was a small Italian restaurant that I used to go to with my husband before the divorce proceedings started. I ordered my food and sat down to wait for my order. As my food was being handed to me, I saw Carla storm in like she owned the place and decided to confront me. She was hysterical and I couldn't make sense of what she was trying to say. She then started to punch and kick me. To make a long story short, Carla broke my nose and arm, fractured my left eye socket, and punctured a lung. When she realized what she had done, she panicked and tried to take my stroller while I was fighting to stay conscious. Someone saw what she was trying to do and stopped her before she could escape. I woke to police in my room and my in-laws holding my daughter. The police filled me in on what happened and now Carla is in jail awaiting a court hearing. Because of the nature of my injuries, police are taking the decision to press charges out of my hands. Not that I'd try to drop the charges anyway. So yeah, this is where I am at. Update 6. Carla is still sitting in jail. She is facing some serious prison time and I'm so happy that I can put her behind me. I also got out of the hospital a day and a half ago. First of all, let me begin with a small update on STBX hubby. He has been receptive to treatment and will be leaving the hospital next Monday. My mill has been keeping me up to date on his condition and he is stable now. A lot of you were right, Carla took advantage of his manic episode and need for a stronger dosage of his medicine by convincing him to sleep with her. He has since broken up with her and begged his mother to tell me that he does want another chance to be my husband. That's why she attacked me the other day. She couldn't handle his rejection. To be clear, I'm not giving him another chance. He destroyed my trust by not only cheating on me, but by refusing his medicines for a while and threatening me and our daughter. I'm still going through with the divorce, but I may go to counseling to review the custody arrangement and give him more supervised visitation. He's still her father, after all. Also, I got a job recently. I was told I got the position the day before I was released from the hospital. I haven't read all of your messages of support, but the ones that I have read, thank you. Carla is still in jail with no chance to get out before her next hearing. Hopefully she gets what is coming to her. Hubby is stabilizing and begging for another chance, and I'm looking forward to starting my career. I will be updating again in about a week. Edit. I just read the comments and some of them are rather harsh about me saying I want to try to give him a little more supervised visits. Say what you want, but STBXH can go back and try to get the custody order reviewed when he gets out. As long as he is stable and undergoes mandated therapy, the judges here will rule in his favor. The review of his custody arrangement is per my lawyer's advice, otherwise when he gets better, he can file to have it amended. It's just easier to be agreeable rather than fight it out. I have no more energy to do so. Carla is in jail, so my biggest threat is gone. She isn't getting out for some time. Not even her family's influence can help her. I'd rather agree to longer visits than risk having him gain even an ounce of unsupervised custody. At least this way, I know my eels will get her out of there if he is dangerous. It will also look better on me during this divorce process. Update 7. I want to start by saying, thank you, again, to everyone who's been with me through these updates. Your support and advice truly have helped me get through each new tailspin. So, last week after my last post, things finally started settling into something resembling a routine. My in-laws have kept their promise and been a steady wall for me, helping with my daughter, making sure I can focus on my recovery and new job. It honestly felt like, for the first time in half a year, the fires were dying down. That was until Thursday. I was working, it's remote, thankfully, and my mill was out at the store with my daughter. I was alone in the house, which has been rare. In the middle of the afternoon, there was a knock, so sudden it startled me. We get packages all day, so I wasn't thinking anything until I checked the camera. James's father, of all people, the one who disappeared, in and out of James's life, and essentially ghosted the family years ago. I've never had much contact with him, except for a strained, awkward dinner at our wedding. I just froze. He started shouting my name, banging on the door, yelling about setting things right. All I could think was, if I call my mill, she won't make it back in time. If I call the police right now, what if he breaks in? I tried to keep calm and called 911 and my lawyer, on speakerphone. The dispatcher told me to lock the doors, stay on the line, and not engage. Turns out, he heard about the arrests and drama from a mutual acquaintance, who, incidentally, is now blocked, and decided out of nowhere that his family couldn't survive another scandal. He kept shouting about fixing James and not letting Carla ruin everything. I pieced together from what he was saying that he somehow blames me for letting Carla into our lives, lol, as if I ever invited her to commit felonies. He also threatened, if I kept talking badly about James or his family, my ex-in-laws, he would go public about everything and make sure everyone knows the real you. I almost laughed, because what could possibly be worse than what's already been dragged through the court record? Police showed up before he could try anything, and he was escorted away. My lawyer said it counts as harassment given our ongoing legal situation, and he's helping me add James's father to my existing protection order. I haven't seen or heard from him since, thankfully, but I am still double and triple checking that all locks are shut at night. But wait, it gets even weirder. The same afternoon, after I'd calmed down a bit, I got a collect call from the jail. Guess WHO? Carla. I should have hung up, but curiosity got the better of me, and, let's be real, I want every shred of evidence for the courts. She rambled for several minutes about how James only broke up with her because his mother forced him, and accused me of poisoning everyone against her. Then, she launched into a bizarre apology/confession combo and begged me, yes, begged me, to take her letters and give them to James, claiming she's still in love with him, and also that she forgives me, because she understands now why I was so protective of my daughter. Yeah, thanks, Carla, but no thanks. She then revealed she was being investigated for a break-in at a pharmacy the week before, news to me, and said she was feeling hopeless and wished she hadn't let jealousy get the better of her. I told her to put everything in writing, mailed to my lawyer, and that I would not be facilitating messages to James. After hanging up, I got the feeling something wasn't quite right. My gut said there was more coming. Friday. My mill got a call from DSS. They'd gotten an anonymous tip, alleging that I was abusing prescription meds, leaving the baby unattended, and planning to move out of state in the dead of night. Obviously, it was all totally fabricated, and I have every receipt, every medical note, every childcare bill accounted for. The caseworker was professional and, after about 30 minutes, obviously realized there was zero basis. They checked everything, watched my daughter interact with me and my mill, saw my tidy as heck house, and left us with zero concern and an apology. But still, this reeks of Carla or James's father, desperate for one more last-ditch power play. My lawyer is now working on adding both Carla and James's father to my protection orders. The state will coincide, since Carla is facing criminal charges already. Apparently, this level of targeted harassment during divorce and custody is not as rare as I'd hope, and the court's seen enough to believe me swiftly. And about James, his mother told me that the week before Carla's jail attack on me, he had written a long letter to her, apologizing for everything, blaming himself for opening our family to all of this, and that when he's released, he will likely voluntarily terminate parental rights. I have mixed feelings, sadness, relief, anger, but mostly an ache for my daughter. As for me, my lawyer and therapist both recommend keeping all interactions strictly legal for now. My mill is preparing to testify, should Carla ever attempt some kind of challenge, which is less likely, since her court hearing about the assault, kidnapping, and other charges is next week. Meanwhile, my own life has changed radically. With my new job, I'm able to support my daughter more easily. My in-laws remain a huge comfort, and my mill officially asked me if she could become my daughter's godparent by signing guardianship paperwork just in case. I agreed, with a huge sense of relief, knowing my little one always has someone safe in her corner. Oh, and this, I started reaching out to a local support group for single moms with complex trauma histories. I had my first group meeting on Sunday, and, no surprise, I wasn't alone in my experience with manipulative friends, narcissistic partners, and wild custody battles. Hearing other women's stories actually made me feel stronger. It reminded me that I landed on my feet, that no matter how wild things get, I can keep moving forward, for myself and my little girl. For now, my priorities are staying safe, healing both body and mind, building a new life, and, when I'm ready, maybe even helping other women in my situation find legal resources. I'm still moving forward with my law degree. Eventually, I want to make sure women like me never feel as alone as I did during the darkest days of this mess. Update 8. First, let's start with the courthouse. Last Wednesday was Carla's hearing for the pharmacy break-in. Yes, that's real. It's almost comical how quickly her rap sheet exploded. The DA is livid, describing her as unhinged and desperate, which, honestly, is being generous. She pled not guilty at the arraignment and is pushing for an evaluation on her mental state. I found this out through my lawyer, who, to his credit, has become an encyclopedia of all things Carla. The trial is set for 6 weeks from now, and the prosecutor told me she's facing a double-digit sentence if found guilty, which, given the evidence, is more than likely. My official statement is in, as is the restaurant security footage. Ironically, her own public defender tried to contact me, but my lawyer shut that down hard. Meanwhile, DSS closed my case the very day they opened it, after speaking with my therapist and pediatrician, who were both furious on my behalf. My mill is still listed as a guardian and has doubled down on helping me keep records. We installed cameras everywhere around the house and invested in a new alarm system, so if anyone tries to pop up again, looking at you, James's father, law enforcement will have evidence. Now, on to the newest, strangest thread, James. He was released from the hospital a few days ago. His mother is the only family taking him in. His stepfather agreed but set ground rules: no unmedicated episodes, strict therapy, no overnight guests. James reached out through his attorney, who asked if I'd be willing to mediate closure. Apparently he's ready to voluntarily terminate his parental rights, just as the final decree on the divorce nears. I'm equal parts relieved and sad. This man used to be my best friend, but now he's a living cautionary tale for what happens when trauma, untreated illness, and irresponsibility spiral out of control. But I did agree to a very brief sit-down in my attorney's office, strictly monitored, no daughter present. Here's what happened: he apologized for everything. Sincerely. He owned his failings, said Carla took up space she shouldn't have, but he did too. I let my own wounds take over and punish the people I was supposed to protect. For the first time in years, he seemed lucid, even remorseful. He said he knows he's not safe, or stable, or capable of being a father right now, but that doesn't reduce my anger, and it doesn't deserve forgiveness. At the end, he handed my lawyer a written statement requesting the official termination of his parental rights, signed and notarized. He said he hopes, once he's healthy, he can at least be a distant friend, or maybe write our daughter a letter someday. I told him the truth: it's not my place to decide that for her. You'll have to live with your choices, and so will she. And that I'd be honest with her, always. The weirdest part? He thanked me for not keeping his mother out of our daughter's life. Then, in probably the most unexpectedly civil moment I've had since all this began, he left without a fight. Now, for the mind-boggling curveball. A week ago, my in-laws and I got a letter from a family law attorney out of state. James's father, the one who harassed me at the house, has filed for grandparent visitation with my daughter. Let that settle for a second. This is a man who all but vanished for a decade, showed up exactly once at my wedding, then showed up screaming at my door during a custody nightmare, and now he wants visitation. But here's the twist: his motion cites not only the breakdown of the marital family unit but, wait for it, Carla, too. He's attached letters from Carla claiming she was co-raising my daughter during several overnight stays she had at our marital house, prior to my discovery of the affair. Reader, I almost laughed myself sick. My lawyer is already working to squash it. These states are strict, and grandparents who haven't even seen the child since birth and have an active harassment complaint aren't exactly high on the list for visitation. Add in the attempted kidnapping, the ongoing criminal cases, and my daughter's physician's written notes on trauma and safety. Let's just say, my attorney took one look at the stack and said, let them try. Another wild twist: since word of all this broke, 2 of my old mutual friends from high school, people I'd lost touch with, actually reached out with apologies. Turns out, Carla had been telling everyone for months that I was unhinged, dangerous, and manipulative, and that James broke things off because I refused to let him have a life. With my lawyer's encouragement, I've started quietly contacting my old network, clearing the air, and a few friends are now working with me to file character witness statements. It's odd, but I suddenly feel like I'm reclaiming not just my life and stability, but my own reputation. That feels huge. Let's not gloss over the small, good stuff. My daughter said her first real word last night: doggy. The in-laws golden doodle cheered, too. I started my first set of real assignments at my new job and saw the smallest shimmer of confidence in myself. My therapist thinks I'm starting to reclaim narrative authority after years of gaslighting. For the first time, my house feels like home, safe, full of laughter, not eggshells and alarms. I also went to a second single mom support group. This time, instead of just listening, I introduced myself as someone who survived. And then? A woman across the circle recognized my story. She's been through something eerily similar with a manipulative friend and narcissistic ex. I'm not alone. None of us are. Short version for the readers. The latest round brings new court drama, Carla's criminal charges and another grandparent suit, but also the clearest sense of safety I've had in years. My ex is officially stepping down as a parent. Carla keeps digging deeper. The grandparent I never needed is about to get a reality check from the justice system. My support network is rebuilding. My daughter is safe, healthy, and loved. And me? I feel, for once, like I'm not just surviving, but living with intention. The saga keeps throwing wild cards, but I guess that's how I know I'm really moving forward.